My guests today are Daniela and Katrin, hosts of the D&K Spiritual Miracles podcast. They're twins from Germany, living in Florida, who believe God sends angels down to earth to help in certain situations. I was previously a guest on their show, during which I told one of my climbing stories, which I'm sure there was an intervention from a higher source to keep me from falling to my death. In this episode, we're going to help Katrin find her purpose. Yes, even though the podcast they co-host sounds fantastic, she can't seem to find her purpose, and she thinks she'd be happier if she knew what her purpose is.
Hello.
Oh,
Yes.
okay, awesome.
Hello. How are you?
Good. How's Florida treating you?
You're good. Yeah.
Better.
What happened? Was a hurricane?
Yeah.
Was pretty bad in some areas, but not in our area.
Oh, good. So today we're going to try to find which one of you is? You look very like Katrin.
Yes, that's me.
Katrin.
And I'm Daniela. We had the interview.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about, we want to find your purpose, right?
Yes.
Katrin?
Yeah.
So first thing I want to ask you, and just spit it out. Whether you think it's silly or too big, or your sister doesn't even know. What have you always dreamt about doing?
That's a good question, actually. So I just went with the flow. I kind of followed my sister's footsteps. It wasn't like later down the road, I asked myself, what's my purpose, So I never found it, kind of. I don't know. Maybe just being try to be happy and living the life, and doing, what you're supposed to do.
Well, it's a good point, is you don't have to do anything.
Mm.
You're perfect just as you are. Or for example, someone once told me, Dan, they were speaking to somebody else, because you're like, what does that person do? And they support that other person.
Mm.
Like a partner, a spouse or a friend, a secretary. Dwayne Dwyer, the best-selling author, Dwayne Dwyer.
Yeah.
Okay, little secret is, because his books are great, he didn't write any of them.
Mm-hmm.
He wrote the words, kind of, but he never actually typed anything into a computer, or rarely. He had one woman do it his whole career, would take all his notes, and she would type them in the computer. I guess you could say her purpose was, if you want to put a title on it, you title it. But but back to what you haven't told me. What is your secret dream?
My dream is just to have a partner for life, and not just for a short, a lifetime partner, and just not having the pressure of life itself, because the pressure is if you don't to make it even, to break even, money wise, and just to have less pressure on me, and to be there, just a partner to tap myself on the shoulder, say, hey, you're doing good, or I know I do, but just a confirmation, or just to talk to somebody else,
Yeah.
feels good.
So I hear. So we could talk about values. You probably heard this one before. Values, right? Pick your top most important things. So a partner's like a value, and it's important, but it's still not a dream. What you want to do. Where I'm going with this is, we all want partners. One of my ex-girlfriends still always, I just want a partner so I can travel. I'm okay. What if your dream partner doesn't like to travel? Okay, but does everything else for you that you could dream of? How important is traveling to you? Because all she says is, I want to travel. And then she adds, but I want a partner to go with me. Where I'm going with this, Katrin, is you can find a partner, I believe, once you're being authentic and actually living your first dream. Then the rest of the pieces will fall into place. So we got to we got to find out what your secret dream is, what you've always wanted to do.
Yeah, that's a hard one, to be honest. I just never had like, maybe I mean, I did a vision board in my house,
Yeah.
like what my goal is a house, is like a car, it's I mean, first of a marriage. Like I have been married before, but it just didn't work out. And I wish it did, but it just, so anyway, like a lifetime partner is the first number one. And from there, just I see myself with a partner and with my two kids, like just having like a family life. Like it's just always me. And it's frustrating in one way because, with my second, I gave birth alone. It was just me the whole time. I mean, he's 4 now, but the whole time it just was me with everything, like handling life, it itself. But then on top with the children is another thing. It's just hard on one person. Like the whole thing, the whole picture is difficult.
I think,
it lead me to a lot of depression where I felt like too overwhelmed with life. Like I needed a break of like work and everything, but I couldn't because otherwise my whole household would break apart. Like I have to be strong, but it just, you can only handle so much sometimes with lack of sleep, with the child being awake sometimes during the night. Like the whole picture was very difficult for me.
I think a woman is hard on a woman because if you have to do the job of a man and a woman you parent one child alone, it's hard. That's the issue with her.
I don't like traveling either because like you mentioned, for me, I know it would be like, let's say I find someone, but he likes traveling, then I would just say this doesn't work because I hate travel. I mean, I could do it once in a while, but it's like I like to sit where I'm at. I mean, I like to see a little bit here and there, maybe.
So let's try this. Let's pretend you have, so I'm hearing family. Like family's great. Nothing like family, right? Besides helping you out with the money and cleaning the house. It's nice to just hang out, watch, even if you don't like football, watch the game on football with your family, if your brother or whoever likes to. Imagine you had the perfect house and the perfect partner to help you with the kids. Then what would you be doing? I mean, it's okay just to, but what would you want to do? What would you want to do?
Because wait a sec, because I told her you don't need a man. But I mean, I understand her situation. It's a big struggle, raising 2 kids alone. And I've been through it with one child a little bit, but then, so I remarried. But I know that is hard and tough, but then you wish it's a little easier with some partner and somebody, but you don't need, I mean, the thing.
Before I forget, let me ask, what I'm hearing, is this true, Katrin?
Yeah.
You don't want a partner. You feel like it would be nice to have one. It would help you, but it's not what you want.
I always wanted one. And until I got so much disappointment out of guys that I'm like, okay, whatever. I do want one, but I mean, I have been through so much alone that I kind of accepted to be alone too. I do accept to be alone, but the fun part, it's still, I'm still young now. I don't want to find a boyfriend when I'm 70, or 60. Like, I feel like then I care less, then I don't need anyone. But I do think I do have a little fun in my head that I like to live out too. And the whole, like going somewhere and, just the whole thing is nice to have a partner and to be married and to come home to either apartment or house, to not be alone, like I actually have to have a radio on just to not feel alone.
Yeah, but that's the thing what I tell her, because I'm a little advanced with my brain, I would say, look, as a child, she was always that a little more angry, a little more disappointed, while I was the non-caring, just do it, just be happy at the moment. And she forgets about, she needs to know there is nothing that can, like, she cannot look for something. She has to look it in herself. She has to say, let's say I wanna start painting. And I want to do this as a hobby. And from there on, I want to make my life more happier with something as a hobby, or not, hey, I need somebody else to make me happy.
No, yeah,
That's where I'm going with this too.
Yeah.
Because here's when I was a little secret, like more of a dating coach. I actually have a podcast, dating coach, for both men and women. But a lot of guys, they're trying to pick up on women, which is probably where your bad experiences with guys are coming from. Because I tell them, like, why are you talking to that girl? Well, clearly the answer is sex, right? Well, that's why she's not talking to you. What else have you got? What are you doing with your life? What would you be doing? What are you doing today? Like, if you were to speak, you want to talk to this beautiful woman. What are you going to tell her besides some goofy, stupid pickup line that she's heard 1,000 times and you're bugging her? You're not adding to value to her day. So what do? Do you paint? What's what Daniela said? I'm on my way to the art gallery. My paintings are on the wall. You should come see them if you want to see what. There you have a connection. So back to finding your perfect man. Like if I'm a guy and I see you're nice, but I realize all you want me to do is to be around and help with the house and help with the kids, then I'm kind of like, same thing. Like for you, it's like you're turned off because, I just want sex. And for me, I'm turned off because like, I'm just going to be in her phone and she's going to be calling me, asking me to do stuff all the time. And I don't mind if we really have a connection. But if it's just to fill a void, who wants to just fill a void? Which gets us back to your secret dream and what you do if your house is perfect. You're going to find a man and you need to get the rest of your life in.
Exactly. It's your
the thing is what I found when I'm dating, like online, like it feels funny because I'm controlling with the house. I like to do it all myself, the household and all that stuff. And even with the kids, it's just nice to have someone that is just accepting of them and don't need to be a big help. They can be a couch potato. I wouldn't care. Honestly, there are other women, they would have them do the housework or whatever. It's just not me. I grew up that way, that women do the household, and I'm okay with that. Even with the kids, I just need, I want the fun part that it seems like guys have less interest. It's not just fun, but it's the whole, having.
Yeah. So, but let's say I met you and I'm like, I love kids, but I don't want to talk about kids first because then we get down this whole track like it's about you first.
Yeah.
What would we do together?
I would go to a smoothie place and maybe go for a walk or a restaurant or just. I'm not that picky, but I'm. What turns guys off? Some of them because I'm vegan, and it's another thing. But I tell them I learned from my mistakes, so I tell them you do eat what you eat, and I don't want to tell you what not to eat, but I do. I'm vegan, so.
Well, that's just respect for people's preference and stuff. But what I mean is how to express this, the deeper you.
Yeah.
The deeper me.
You are so right, because yes, you know what it is. So when my grandmother died and she connected to me, she said, when I did what I did, because out of passion, I wanted to be what I was looking for, and I found it, and I went there doing this. And then I heard my grandmother saying, take your sister with you. You are the leader and she is next to me. She doesn't know what she wants and anything. So I need to lead her, and she does what I do then.
She works with you? Does she work with you?
Yeah, not anymore.
No,
but
we used to. We used to go there and work, and that was my passion. It started, and I had it right in here. You know, you need to build a dream, like exactly what you're saying.
But it's hard. Like
she's lost.
I'm lost. I don't know what I dream of, just to have a partner where I can have everything. Like,
but
I don't
it's
know
not
the
a
whole
solution. I'm married. The solution is, I mean, I honestly, it was, of course, everybody dreams of having a partner, but I tell you right now, I know that is not it. If we have kids, it's fine. You build more people, and you know, teach them, you have fun with them, but a partner itself doesn't do it.
This reminds me of, do you know Robin Williams?
Yeah.
Tragic story, right?
Exactly.
You know, I liked him in Mork and Mindy and I liked a lot of his movies. I wasn't a real big Robin Williams fan, but his autobiography is amazing because the author, the man who wrote it, followed him for years. What was interesting about, when we're talking about the dynamics here about a partner, but you still have your own life.
Exactly.
His last marriage, which he called ideal, was his wife was already pre-established as her own artist. She was a painter, I think. She had galleries, she did her thing. So he could do his own thing, and she totally left him alone. She wasn't like in his, you know, like a tag along. She already had her own purpose. So I'm going with this back to Katrin and there's nothing wrong with having a perfect family. But if there's that secret dream and you haven't told us about it, there's going to be a problem when you're in this perfect relationship and everything's perfect. That secret dream's going to pop its head out. And whether it's your talent, like to channel people, your grandmother, like your sister, and do what she does, or something else, it's going to be something different. It could wreak havoc with the relationship because you haven't settled with it. You haven't made peace with yourself and your own dream.
Exactly. You got the right words.
Honestly, my passion is the podcast, but that is really what I feel is my passion. I'm happy doing it. Like I mean, I shouldn't say I hate what I'm doing. I'm working, I mean, in the kitchen, it's fine, but it's not like my purpose, you know, it's just something
in between.
But since I'm all alone, I mean, if you have a partner and he can help a little, where I cut my hours and be more educated on my thing and, you know, dedicated on my time on the podcast, but that just falls apart because
so the podcast was your idea.
It came from me first, and that's what I told my sister, and
I built it because
she built it.
Nice. She's helping you out.
Yeah, the thing is,
I do the most.
My dream would be just not to work. I mean, it sounds
she doesn't want to work, and I'm the one. I don't care. I really love.
I don't want to work. I want to concentrate on this podcast, but I cannot all the way like I want to because there is like the money. That's the issue, you know.
She has.
Okay, so the money is never the issue. The issue is you don't do your podcast to make money. You do it because, like, I found you, or however you found me, and I accepted your connection. It was because I got what you were trying to do.
But also spreading the word out, and that's something. Even if I don't make money on the podcast, which we don't now, but it's just like I feel like this is my passion, you know. But
sure, well, you can't say even if I don't make money, because you don't know that you will never, ever make money. You do not know that. And of course, it would be nice if you can, but like when I'm climbing a mountain, baby steps. I start going this way. Can I get to the top? I don't know, but I got to start going this way. Why? Because this is where I'm at, and it's, till I get stuck and need to figure something out. So you're on the right track with that. Also, what came to mind is, you could find your life partner, or what your other dream for your family is, this way, possibly. It could be someone you have on the show, somebody who's maybe already doing a podcast similar to yours, and you say, hey, or wants to do a podcast similar to yours, but hasn't done one. Like, let's say the next guy you meet, who you're like, oh, no, I did not another like guy who just wants to have sex. And he starts talking to you and goes, I always wanted to do a podcast. And you go, really? I have a podcast. What do you want to talk about? I always wanted to do like what your podcast is about, Katrin. It's like, why don't you help me?
Mm.
And if it's, yeah. And I'm just making stuff up because anything's possible.
Yeah.
Anything, but you have to get started, right? And you are started, so this is good. But he could be somebody more business savvy. Like you're the speaker and he's got the skills to know how to monetize things better. Different skill set.
Yeah.
So this is good. So tell me, how do you find this? How did you get started with the podcast? What made you want to do it?
Because I was very depressed, and not too long ago, like 2 years ago, my dog passed away. That was my everything. And I wanted to know how, in my head, where is she? Maybe I can connect or somehow. And then I found those near-death stories on YouTube. People pass for a few minutes and come back to life. And I couldn't stop watching it. And I told my sister, man, that's super interesting. I really want to do something similar because I had so much interest in the whole thing. And when we grow up, me and my sister, we always had that interest in like, what's the afterlife? Do we exist and all that? We believed in Jesus our whole life, and we were always curious. And then we grew up in a haunted house. We've seen a few ghosts.
And
cool. Nice.
And
I believe you, by the way. Even though I'm an engineer, I'm an aerospace engineer, I have all the equipment. I've got the infrared cameras, the Gauss meters. None of that stuff works, by the way. It's all...
Really?
The gadgets work, but it's not ghost. You guys are really picking up ghost. Respect.
Yes.
I respect
we are the ghost attractor.
The fun thing is, my little boy, he can see them. Like, even like they always say under a certain age, the children can pick up more easy.
Yeah.
And so
this is a miracle with him.
Anyway, so I was in the kitchen making food, and then my boy was sitting on the like not far from me, and he's like, "Go away, doggy, go away." And I'm like, where's the
It runs
dog?
in the genes. It's in the family genes somehow too.
Yeah. And then when I drove to work
With the car.
and he's like, "Here's the doggy, here's the doggy." It gave me, I'm very emotional when I hear it, because I feel like, oh, my baby's here, it's like my daughter that I never had, but and like, she's in spirit. She is always around us, but I could never see her.
This is your dog.
Yeah. And he saw her little child saw, she was like almost 4. He said, "Mama, I see the dog and he's on my legs," and I told him to go away. It's amazing. He never knew about the dog because he was born and the dog was already died.
No,
he was a newborn or something.
So your podcast is about, the title is Miracles, but is it more about connecting with lost pets?
No.
Okay.
It's about like spirituality.
I had so many miracles, to be honest, in my life that is like mind blowing. Like, and then when I look at the near-death stories, then you kind of know that Jesus, he knows our thoughts, and he hears and he knows everything about us. And then I'm more like, okay, I can just talk to him and he understands, I guess. But there's so many miracles. We both had, I feel like through my troubled life that I went through, I had more miracles happen than my sister.
Yeah, I'm right with you with the miracles. The other day when I was having a downer day, whatever you call it, just to like struggle, like too much to do, stressed, and everything else, I'm like, I've just started realizing how lucky I am and all the miracles that caused me to be where I'm at, and so fortunate. What could have happened didn't. So it's good, but the reason I ask is, it seems like the title is Miracles, but yet you also have a gift for channeling or hearing or seeing stuff, right?
Yeah, I do.
And
Yeah.
mostly she, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
But also her son was a miracle. So he told my sister, he said, before I was born, I was in heaven and I looked down and there was that window that I could look through earth and I saw you and I was choosing you as my mom. And then Jesus pushed me down and I was on earth. So this is a 3-year-old saying that is insane.
yeah,
Like he's gifted.
I think he is gifted.
So with your podcast, because I want to stay on track with your purpose, what would you say your purpose is with the podcast?
My purpose is that people believe more in, like, also in Jesus, maybe, because I mean there's people that don't believe, or they just say, that's just an incident that can happen to anyone. But
why is it important that people believe?
Or maybe you know why?
I did educated myself through my grief, that Jesus actually wants us all to learn about him. And I mean, I never, to be honest, read the Bible. I feel a little guilty for it, but it's hard to understand, for me. And I believe in him with my heart, and I think he knows all that.
And we do listen to the Bible story, but we haven't read it. It's not like we don't want to. It's just very hard to get.
What I mean is your purpose, what would make you feel happy most at the end of the day, is if people knew and accepted Jesus. Is that what your ultimate purpose is? Or?
Yeah, I mean, also, they can, we are born with our own will. I just want to get. No, I don't know. It's just like something that people find maybe interesting to listen to and to have.
Definitely.
Yeah. Also, when you're depressed, like she was, my sister, so it gives you. I think the purpose of it, if I have to make a point, it's to calm down. When you're depressed, you watch these videos about near-death experiences. In case you really don't want to live anymore, or you don't see a way in or out or whatever, like however you call it, then you you type in YouTube near-death experience or miracles or something, then people talk about it. It does give you a good understanding. I think we want to give that understanding out.
And also, I feel like even myself, I mean, I have my sister, but there's points where I feel like I have nobody to talk to. And even listening to a podcast gives you...
Well, the podcasts are great. What I'm asking is, when I'm done with your podcast, what action do you want me to take? Or how do you want me to feel? What do you want me to get from it?
I
do different in my life, to make a difference. I believe in miracles, so I had a bad day and I'm feeling like a miracle could happen to me now. Or is it, it sounds like it's not, but, you should read, I'm just making stuff up now. You should read the Bible or try to connect with Jesus. What in your heart do you really want people to, what do you want to happen when people...
to believe?
To actually learn, because what I did learn, I learned about is actually with everything that interesting stuff like that I never knew before. Like when you are in heaven, like you actually, the people that come back, they talk about things that actually I picked up and learned from it, and that gave me more understanding. And because I was so down, I don't there was some point where I didn't want to feel like I want to continue with life. But then when I heard, when you do actually stop with your there's something in heaven when you do commit some suicide, that you have to go all over again with your life and all that stuff. So I did learn that this is not a way to do. And I know that it's bad no matter what, but it just, I learned like, okay, I have to be strong. I can do it. I just continue to listen to the podcast, which gave me more.
The reason I ask is because when I first came across you, and FYI, I saw you only had 4 shows, but I had no shows when I was asking for guests or to be on the show. And I learned in life that the best people, if they get what you're trying to do, they could be huge. They'll be on your show. And it's the people that ask you how many listeners you have that you never want to speak to again because they're never going anywhere. But where I'm going with this is I was like, hey, what do they talk about? And keyword miracles is not what I'm hearing a lot in this.
Yeah, it is let's say it like this. It's a big spectrum. Like people talk about Jesus, then another people talk about how they found healing within, or I don't know.
Yeah, that's okay. We don't have to dissect your podcast.
No, it's fine. Yeah.
I'm just curious, and I wondered if it would help with your purpose more. We'll keep the podcast as the purpose, but I think would help even more for me, for example, is I just want people to do what they want to do. If it's as simple as go travel, get a date, because I think a lot of people are stuck and they just go do it. And that's my simple thing, which leads to bigger things. And I wonder what your simple thing is.
Yeah. We like to interview more people with near-death experiences. But like I mentioned before, it's hard to find. There has to be
there's tons of them. Did you get the links that I sent you?
Yeah, but this is, I haven't clicked on all of them, but I think there's it's not like a foundation where all these people
They're actually groups.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But how can you contact these? There is
they meet in person. They have online stuff. I'll send you some more stuff with that. I can help you with that if you want to talk to more near-death people.
You would be amazing.
But my purpose also is I feel I always wanted when I had my children to be there for them. For my second one, I felt like my purpose is just to be a mom.
Yeah.
I know it sounds silly, but that I felt, and I could never have it because it was just me without anyone to help me with the bills, So I had to give up on being a mom halfway because I had to give him up in daycare, which every time I did it, I cried and I prayed, please, Jesus, help me out. I want to be there for him, So that kind of...
It's definitely true. If anyone who does their top 5 values or 2 or 3, if you're a woman and you have a child, your kids are definitely the top value. There's no question. But it doesn't mean you could just stay home, but it doesn't mean you have nothing else. You don't have to have more. You can have more than one dream or more than one purpose, if you like. Because what do you do when your kids are grown up and hit the door?
For me, it was only important to a certain age, like baby age, and but when they can't really talk, and now it's okay. He's 4. I don't mind him the pre-K is totally acceptable. But before that time, I felt heartbroken. I felt like I don't know what happened behind the doors, and this is just I was really depressed.
So we're making progress. Clearly, your kids. How many kids do you have?
2.
2. And how old are they? What are their names?
2 boys. Henry 4 and Calvin is 11.
Nice. I have 2 brothers. So your sons are important, and in the meantime, your podcast is number 2. Sounds like, right?
Yeah. Yes, correct.
And then probably number 3 is your day job.
Yeah.
Well, your sister's actually number 2. Anyway, where I'm going with this is the podcast is real important, I think, to you, right?
Yes, correct.
So you need to focus on that.
Yeah.
What's the plan? Tell me what your ideas for that are.
My plan is to do this full time. However we could, I have no clue, but this would be a dream for me.
I don't think full time is
possible, but it's like a step by step.
I think part time is enough because nobody wants to sit all day on the computer. I mean,
Well, full-time's a relative term anyhow.
Yeah,
Yeah, I go
exactly.
go to the bathroom. Is that full-time? Is that a part-time job now? Like,
I understand. No, I tell, look what it is with her. I can get you a little link with her. So my sister needs to find not a man that makes her happy, because I'm married and I can talk about this.
mhm.
So I know it's not my fulfilling life. It's my life is what I want to do as a person, not you finding
But wait a minute.
somebody who has who she thinks we can live together and be together, but then her own purpose in life. So Earth is different. We have to find work. Everybody on this planet has to, after school, have to find a job. I mean, we can sit on the couch, do nothing, but that's not for our job, because then the world.
Well, so what idea comes to mind? Because process thing as an engineer, you'll see me do this on a lot of episodes. When someone says a term, work, I break it down. What does that mean? That means you do something and get paid for it.
Exactly.
Because I work in the yard, I mow the lawn.
Yeah.
That's work.
And
Well, you mean I get
work,
paid for something that
Yes.
somebody wants? Okay.
Hmm.
And I do it I'm a strong guy, so I can push the lawnmower. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing that kind of work. So what comes to mind, Katrin, is why don't you try to think about how you can tie the podcast in? Like, you've probably thought about this. So let me ask you what your ideas are to do work in alignment with the message on your podcast. What are your ideas there? I know you surely must have thought of this.
I mean, I had a few ideas, me and my sister actually. Like, I thought about maybe learning German and English on, like, doing a second podcast, teaching,
Teaching German.
German
Nope.
and English.
Nope. You're breaking what you're doing is, I've done it all the time. You can chase your tail. You're chasing the money because you think there's more money in this if I did that, right? Is that why?
For her.
Halfway, I think that
For
way,
her.
but it makes me really more satisfied with what
Oh.
I have been doing in life. Like, just working for somebody, it just brings me
Go. Yeah, absolutely. You don't want to work you want to work for yourself.
Yeah.
But tell me if I'm wrong. Your idea with the German was that's an easier thing to make money on than your podcast about, right?
Correct.
Which is going to take your time and energy away from making your dream podcast, which you really care about, work. You can only be doing one job or two.
Yeah.
So what I'm asking is, what are your ideas? I know you've thought of them for if you could do something with your miracle podcast. I mean, you channel people, you hear stuff, you see stuff, for crying out loud. People love that stuff. That's easy to sell.
Yeah.
What are your ideas on that?
We thought about it. I mean, she can more.
I can connect and I can
more.
read people. It would be me again doing, but my dream is actually, I'm doing the podcast. I love interviewing people.
I wish I could,
But the thing is, it's not my passion. I know what my passion is. And I told
that's a good point. Actually, Katrin, Daniela's the one who interviewed me. How's that work when it's not even her dream and her thing?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's fine because I can take over.
Yeah, but the thing is, she's alone, already struggling, so she has to work her shift somewhere outside of her house.
So you're trying to help her get it started.
Yes, I mean, I love it. It's not like I force myself doing it. I'm doing this because of both of us. Like, I like to get messages out, and I like all that what we're doing. But my passion is helping elderly people, and I'm working on. I mean, I doing this for a job out of passion, not out of money.
Yeah, you've got your thing going. You know what it is.
Yes,
And
I absolutely. I look. I told my sister, even if the podcast would make $1,000 a month, or let's just do, like, say 2,000, it wouldn't be my passion. I know. I mean, I make not much doing what I'm doing with helping elderly, but my heart is there, and that's what I want to do. That's my purpose, my passion. You have to find in life a passion. And I know it's
So
hard.
Katrin, is the podcast your passion?
It is.
Yeah, she says that because you know what she wants? She doesn't want to work at all anywhere. She just want to sit at home. She wants to interview people.
Well, what's stopping you?
Yeah, because the money, I don't make money out of it right now. And
Nobody makes money off the get-go doing a podcast or a YouTube. You don't do it for the money. You do it because you want to do it, and then the money follows later. It's going to take some time. What's stopping you from doing it?
Yeah, the time. I wish I had more time, to be honest, on my end. And that I don't have. Like, I have the kids mostly, and then I
always told her,
see, now my mom is taking care of the kids. I mean, it's just something.
No, I told
my
her,
time. I wish I had more time.
No, Katrin, I told my sister, move into my house, make because what I did, I pushed away mountains to come where I want to be. And I step over mountains or fly, whatever it takes. I do this to be somewhere where I want to be. But she's the one, she's afraid, she doesn't know.
Well, the time-wise, let's talk about the time.
Yeah, her fear.
You do need to, so this is one of your top 3 values. This is, I'll give you an example of trying to remember an example of a client who, they're like, oh, I got to do this and I got to do that and I got to do that. If something comes up, remember your top 3, your kids. Is it your kids calling on the phone? No. Is it work calling on the phone? No. Then nothing else matters. Meaning you have time now to work on your podcast. If it's like, oh, well, it's this or that. No, it's not in the top 3, which are kids, your sister, and maybe your job. Although I say that comes after your podcast, meaning if they call you in, so-and-so called in sick, can you come in and work? No, because I'm going to work on my podcast now. Well, don't be distracted but I could use the extra money and the overtime. No, I would tell her whenever, because she's got all these other things going on in life, people calling and things to do. I'm like, one of them was to learn French. She needed to learn French for this international job. I'm like, if it's not your French class, it's not your day job, it's not important. That's you got to do that. Otherwise, you're not going to make time. Never going to be time.
At the time when I have free time, that's what I'm doing. It's the podcast. It's always in my, I don't like, but let's say I would like to go somewhere to a walking trail, but I can't because I do want to really focus on that podcast. So whenever I get free time, I sacrifice my time already on the podcast as much as I can.
Good.
The good thing, my work would never call me and tell me, hey, you need to come and blah, blah. That's a good thing too. So I push away the negative and I hold up the positive things, that
when you're doing the podcast also, don't think, oh, I'm doing this now, I'm making this much time, but it's going to come back to me in making money later. Do it because there's only so much time on earth. Talking about people dying, passing over. You have a limited amount of time if you think about it. Do everything, including your podcast. If you were to, we all will not be here in some point in time. What do you want to do while you're here? That's what to think of when you're niching out time. I could be going for a walk. I really want to go for a walk. It's not my value. I really need to do this podcast. Why? Because I want to change somebody's life by giving them this message of hope with the miracle, right? Or whatever it is. You got to focus on that. That's your purpose.
That's true. Yeah.
I think for her, she needs to at least, while I'm thinking about it, if she talks about the podcast and all that, she needs to at least once a week, every Thursday or Friday, let's say Thursday, she needs to take the computer from my house, in her house, and she needs to email people because it's always me doing everything. I mean, I know she has limited time.
Yeah, that's a good point, though. It's also a good point because what I've found is you want to help people. When you do everything for them, it doesn't stick.
Exactly.
Doesn't stick.
It makes me more angry. And I love doing what I do, but I do have a big house to take care of, and I do have to do things as well, but I sacrifice my life too, because she wanted to have a better life doing the podcast, or thinking maybe later on there is something good coming back.
And what I've also discovered is that if you stop doing it for her, and then she stops doing the podcast.
Exactly.
Well, then the podcast was never actually the secret dream, the most important thing.
Exactly. You are so right.
Yeah, I would
thank you. No. Thank you for saying it.
No,
because I threatened her already. I said, I'm doing this for 3 more years. I can't
That's
say
a long time.
I know, but I told her, I said, because I committed, I mean, we don't have a date or nothing, but I said, that's it. I'm not going to be your slave. I'm not going to do what you tell me to do, because if it's her dream, you sit down and you do it. And no matter if it's 8 or 9, you email people, you do that. I mean, it's not that it's not my dream too. It is kinda, but
you want to help her. I've been in your shoes, and I've done it, and I still do it to the point where, and I still do it. I'm kind of like, Dan, you have to stop. This is, as soon as you stop, this is like some of the wars that America gets into, right? As soon as we pull out, things go back to normal. Like, why'd we even bother in the first place?
Yeah.
You've got to do it yourself. And I know it's hard, but again, I think the key is, when it gets real hard, remember, pretend I'm dead, or we're not going to be here. And go, oh, like you're seeing Jesus, right, in heaven. What if Jesus goes, your sister really was trying to help you, but she had her own life. How come you stopped doing that podcast? What would you say to Jesus?
I wish I had more time.
Excuses.
No,
That's
imagine you're speaking to God, to Jesus now.
Excuses.
What is your excuse? What did you do? Okay, so let me ask you. Well, what did you do with your time? Give me an example.
So if I would be able to work, like, let's just say something silly, 4 hours a day, I could totally dedicate my own time more on the podcast, but I cannot, all the way I wish to, because I have to work, make money for my family.
Yeah, Jesus understands that. I think he was a carpenter or something like that, but he still found time to go preach at the temple and whatnot. So
I still find time, it's just like the time I have, I do spend on the podcast. Like, if I don't have my children, that's what I'm doing. There's no excuse, and there's no, my sister, like, it's just me doing it, it's not that
why am I hearing that your sister's having to do so much of it, and that she fears if she stops that it'll go kaput?
It will go
down. It will go down.
Not all the way down, but I can only do so much.
But she will, what she does?
Like, okay,
she's blaming me.
No. My sister
accusing me. We wanted to do this.
Works barely anything during the week.
I work Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday.
3 hours or 4 hours a day.
Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Each day 4 hours, because that's what they give me for the job. I help elderly people. I love doing it, but I love doing it.
So, Daniela, what do you do now that if you stopped wouldn't get done?
I know what I would go in a nursing home, and that.
No, I mean on terms of the podcast. Like, if you stopped tomorrow, what would happen with the podcast?
Yeah,
I would do it slowly. I wouldn't give up.
She would ask me how to do this, how to do that, and I'm so angry at you, don't helping me, and she would blame me.
Yes, you just think so.
I know her.
I told her already, just do your thing, because
she hates.
I don't want her to do something because she feels like she has to because of me.
She's not doing it because she has to. She has this vision of you that we both see. And we love your what you're trying to do. We're trying to help you. It's just, you can only help people so much. And then, if back to the war, like, if you know you're going to pull out, and as soon as you do, things go back to normal. And what was it for? Then as a helper, you're kind of like, why am I helping? It's like a waste of my time, and it's a lot of my time, and it really hurts to give the time, and it's work, but. It's going to happen sooner or later. I have to stop. And when I do, nothing's going to happen. Why does she feel that way? How come, why is it so hard for you to do it on your own?
I know what it is. Her little son, no, let me talk. Her little son is 4 and she works where he's right there. The daycare is like 3 minutes from her job.
Mm-hmm.
So she sacrificed her own life because of that little kid that she says, oh, I need to pick him up at exactly 3 or 10. You know, if I'm
These are
late.
podcasts. This is a digital age. It even comes to mind. You could bring your kid on the show with you. Integrate them into the show, whatever. People relate to that. There are plenty of single mothers out there looking for their miracle. For all we know, it could become your niche, like some people have a hat or a pair of glasses that are special. Like where's the little boy? Oh, he grew up. He doesn't want to be on the show anymore. Oh, we miss him. Well, the show can't go on without him. A lot of possibilities.
I think what it is, she's looking for like just that a son is in school and then from there on, like next year, she can do more what she wants to do. So now she sacrifices and is angry at her job and hates it and is so unhappy as
What's your day job? What's your other job?
Her day
It's in a
kitchen
and a cafeteria.
I mean, she has to wash heavy parts, and I mean, I understand all that, but then don't complain. All she does is calling me or my mother. She's like complaining, and she's putting out her like unhappiness to me and everybody else. I say, I don't want to hear it. It's your own fault. And she did
okay.
stop, but then it comes back.
Just to summarize, there's a lot to process here. And I'm going to pretend I'm you, Katrin. And I imagine I got to wash pots and pans, which, by the way, I've been a dishwasher. I worked my way through college, working 40 hours a week while I was going to school full time as an engineer. It was horrid. I've done it, the worst job possible, dirty. Actually, I was working in a chemical factory for a year while I was going to.
Yeah, that's.
So, but you got to stay focused on. I don't know if you have them. I have business cards for my podcast. And when anybody asks me what I do, I don't tell them I wash pots and pans. I tell them I have a podcast. I give them my card. If I was you, I would have it. It's whatever the miracle is, the message. That's why getting clear on the message. Is it Jesus? Is it a miracle? Whatever it is, you got to get clear on that. That's your purpose. I don't know if we're really clear yet on that.
Exactly.
You're right.
Yeah, you're right.
And when someone asks you what you do, we know what they mean. Like, where do you work? That's not what you said. You said, what do I do? I have a podcast. People ask you, what's it about? That's how you sell your podcast. That's how you find guests. That's how you may even find your partner, your man.
Exactly.
You've got to get out of the mindset, though, if I can't do it, I don't have time, I got to work the job. You know this, right? You know this. What you really need is you need help. Well, how do I change it? Get the card, and everyone asks you,
get a card.
what do I do? I know it's old-fashioned, but
no, it's good. We thought about
it too.
Yeah, that's a very good point. We need to do that.
And then you got to train yourself. It's gonna take a while. The first couple times, go. That's not what I meant to say. I didn't mean to say I worked at the kitchen. I meant to say it's gonna take some practice and some guts, and because you are still working in the kitchen, and then all of a sudden you step into it. You're like, oh, this is who I am. I do the podcast, and I do miracles. I'm pretty good at it, actually. And you start believing that. That's what helps you believe it.
Yeah.
But you're going to have to do the hard work and find your own time and stop calling your sister. I'm almost tempted to tell your sister to just say no. You don't want to cut the addict off, but
you can cut the
tough
cord,
love.
And I tell her.
Yeah, she needs.
I mean, I don't really. It's good if she helps because otherwise, since my time is limited for now, it's just harder for me to do all of it. I mean, it's good if
you got to quit using that language.
Yeah, that's true. You gotta quit it.
Let me break it down. Or say it again. Say it again.
I mean, if she wouldn't be there and I would totally do it by myself, it would take way more time for me doing interviews, me doing the editing, because it would take a whole lot of time.
Okay, so editing, I will completely agree on. I'm a perfectionist. And so Riverside that you're using, for example, is not the perfectionist software, but I will admit it's easier. So here's my advice on that. I had a guest on my show, Stephen Warley. He's done 400 shows. And it's on how to design the life you want how to design the work life you want. You might want to check out his because his is all about how to do your own thing, design work the way you want it.
Wow.
And he's one of those guys he gets me because I've only got 10 shows published and he's going to be a guest. I'm like, and he's successful. So we're talking before the show and I'm explaining like you are, Katrin, how much time it's taken me to edit like a full day.
It takes me a full 2 days.
And he's like, no. He's like, no, Daniel. You put it out there. It's a moment in time. It's a conversation. Do you want people to see it or not? He's like, just put it out there. That'd be my first advice. Just take Riverside, take the recording, unless there's a swear word. And even then, these days, almost doesn't. You have to do something pretty bad. Just besides that, if you don't, you're not getting anywhere. Okay, so that's saving a lot of time there. Yeah. And do you know how to do that on the Riverside?
Yeah, just putting it out.
Okay, so what do you need your sister for?
Yeah, I mean, for the interviews, because if we do have a few, they are not always.
It's nice to see both your faces at the same time like this. Yeah, you got the matching T-shirts and are you twins?
Yeah. Yes.
But she just should be a guest on your show, more or less, a co-host. It's your show. All she needs to commit to is showing up. You tell her, I have a show booked this time, or I'd like to, when can you be available? Or she tells you her schedule, and you ask your guest, can you make the schedule? You design your recordings around your sister's availability. All she does is show up.
You are bringing it to a point.
Then you record the show. It's your show, or both yours, like you're doing now. It's great. And then you release it. So what else?
Yeah, I mean,
you got to reach out to people, right? That's the email. That's a lot of work.
Exactly. You're saying the right words, because if you want to not work for anybody else and you don't see the point in it, then you have to do this. Because
this is a good point too. If you're not willing to do the hard work, you were never going to work for yourself.
Yeah.
And then you might also throw in the towel and just be the best dishwasher you can, because that's your life. There is no easy way.
Exactly. Yeah. If you have this strongly in your head, I don't want to work for anybody else than myself, then you have to take this more in your own hands.
Only the people who have millions of followers and are on TV, that have endorsements for, on Spotify for $1 million, the Joe Rogans and the whoever, you see, they have staff.
Yeah.
Nobody else does. They're all working hard, trying to carve out the niche.
Yeah.
And that's how we make our money.
And
it's not free money. People think, I just do this podcast and I make a lot of money. No, it's not easy, free money. I work hard to do it.
Exactly. I think even Joe Rogan or yourself or us, we all had in one point a job, or still have, it's not like we can commit all we want, but it's going to take time to make money. And
to which brings us back to why I'm not 100% clear on your purpose, your message, because if it's just to do a miracle podcast show, like how am I going to monetize this? How am I going to make money? And I wouldn't count on just YouTube or, advertisements. And that's fine if you want to.
Yeah.
Also, if you have a talent for seeing ghosts and for communicating with deceased people and you're not sharing that talent, that might be your actual bigger purpose. The Miracle Show might just be a business card for that.
I need to build a website, and then I don't know how this works with a payment, because obviously I do not want to do it all for free. Once I commit to it, I want to charge.
So Daniela, this is you caught me off guard. I thought I didn't know that was part of your dream.
I mean, I'm saying it. I do. You know what? It is my dream, and that's the total truth.
The total what?
The total truth, like I lay it out like it is. I want to help people. I want to help people. For example, when they grieve, when they miss a loved one.
Mm-hmm.
I did had like at least 15 readings in my life for free, and they were all like almost all, like I would say 90% of it.
So this is your secret vested interest in this podcast.
Yeah.
Alternative motive.
Yes, you can turn the table. I do the podcast out of a curiosity, but my foremost is to help people in any way and form of shape, a form. So I do wanna help them if they say, hey, I didn't heard from, like I'm a medium too, but I didn't heard from my beloved ones, or I'm a mom and I lost my child.
Yeah.
And anybody give me a healing message that I would come in place.
Okay.
And
great. So you can sell that.
Yes.
And a website and payments not hard. I can tell you how to do that. Back to the bigger picture. You're on the show with your sister. That's the monetization part.
Yeah.
Katrin, do you have anything like that similar?
I did have.
No, you could do that.
I mean, honestly, since I went through so much depression, and I wish I could like help people with depression. It's like,
or you can,
but I don't know how. It just it's
honestly, my thing with depression is how I started my what I'm doing now with my podcast. Although people have to see behind people like, what is your niche? It doesn't say help people with depression. Of course not. Like what? How? I'm not a doctor. I think it's because people aren't doing what they following their dream. They're stuck. That's why they're depressed. So I think what you're trying to do with the miracles is tell people hold out, right? There's hope.
There is. Yeah.
You got to get clear on that though.
I do need to be clear, like when I was very depressed, I told my best friend, I mean, not really best friend, but I known him a very long time, and he's from Germany too. And we met in the US, and I mean, it was just a good friend. And he helped me in situations where I couldn't help myself, you know, so he was there for me. And then he said, okay, I gotta be by myself now, and it's fine. I told him.
Oh, I have a thought real quick. It's real contradictory again to where I'm coming back to. We haven't settled on what your message or purpose is. And I thought it was the podcast. I'm not clear it is. And maybe you could work for a nonprofit suicide prevention hotline or something.
Yeah, that would be good.
If that's really what's driving you.
Because, you know, when like the good friend of mine, he stopped helping me, which I said, yes, I totally don't want your help. I said, I have to do it by myself. But then while I was on the phone with him, I said, in this moment, I cried out loud, where is Jesus? How can I make this work? How can I ever step foot in like my life somehow? And the next day, I got a phone call. It was like the 2020, where all the COVID was going on, and I had to have a shelter in order to live, and like it was a whole mess. And then they called me up and they told me there's a spot available, which I was happy. And then I thought, okay, but what after the shelter? I got a job and I was working, but still I didn't make enough money to support my own living. Like a simple paying rent was an issue. So anyway, and then I didn't thought of nothing except like crying out loud, "Where's Jesus? How can I do it?" And then I got
the Jesus thing's coming back time and time again.
And then so the in the shelter, and they called me to the office, and the lady told me they have never seen anything like this, because the lady in the office, she worked there for a long time, and they got a note that I got approved for a housing assistance, which it was a total miracle in my eyes. I have, like the lady said, how and where, like I had to explain. I said, I better not go into it, but I really cried out to Jesus. And I didn't know without that help where I would been. I mean, I have
we got Jesus, we got miracles, and we got depression.
Yeah, correct.
Okay. So if you could only talk about one, which would it be?
Jesus, I mean, is the first, second is depression. Or maybe first is depression and then Jesus, because when I had depression, I cried out to Jesus, and that's how miracles started happening in my life.
This is a nice thing about recording this. There's your mission statement.
Yeah.
You just used them all three in a sentence. Say it again.
It's depression, Jesus, and then miracles.
But you say it in a sentence.
Yeah, all my miracles happening because I was crying out for help to Jesus,
You didn't use the word depression.
Yeah, and then because I had big depression, and even there's more.
There you go. I had big depression, and I asked Jesus, and a miracle happened.
Yeah, and then miracles started happening, and also I started learning about gratitudes. Like even if you have nothing, you should be thankful. So what I did is, when I was in the shelter, I started telling myself how thankful and grateful I am. I actually was, because
grateful to Jesus.
I'm grateful for that I had a roof over my head with my children, that I first off had children, because without them, I don't know where I would have been lost. I had to have them always with me.
Yeah, I get that. But is it really about just depression and Jesus and miracles? Is
the whole picture all in one, like believing
and
then miracles start happening automatically, I think I would say, because if you believe and if you really talk to him, like just a normal conversation, I think is important. But also, if I would tell her, hey, let's go in a nursing home and let's try it out for yourself.
There you go. Yeah.
I think she would fall in love, because it's absolutely rewarding. So I'm for working in the nursing home, and also with the spirituality. I would like to help people as well. Both of my passion is helping. That's where that comes in place. But
you have that talent for channeling as well, right?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I could help in the nursing home or do this, but I also can, on the side, I can do mediumship readings, like helping people. I mean, giving a message, like a healing message, saying, hey, that's what
You're the first sponsor on the podcast.
Yeah.
You're a sponsor for your own channeling service.
Yeah. But I mean, for me, when I started the miracles, the gratitudes, like there's an example quickly, like when I was low on money, I still said, hey, I'm so thankful for the money I have, the money I receive. It's not all about money, but I'm just saying a quick example, because I didn't have a lot. So I was walking one day with my boy in the playground. I told him to throw away something, and he came back with $40. I'm like, what?
Let me ask you, trying to get the picture here.
Yeah.
Because then I think it'll make you feel better, because you'll just be more clear on what your purpose is. If your whole message was, you go into these nursing homes, you don't mention Jesus, you never say the word depression or Jesus, but you leave them believing in miracles, would that make you happy, fulfilled?
I think it could too. I haven't tried it, but I think I could I would be happy that I believe. I'm not sure, but
she needs to just do it, but her fear is in the way. Fear of her son not being out.
I mean, just believe in miracles. Back to myself, for example. It makes my day when I could be having the worst day, and I'm in the coffee shop, I see someone reading a self-help book, and I go, why are you reading that? It's a great book. I like that book, but why are you reading it? Oh, I've always wanted to travel. I'm like, well, what's stopping you? And well, I don't know where I want to go. Well, why do you say you always want to travel? And where would you like to go? Oh, I'd like to go to Mexico. What's stopping you now? Good question. And they go. It makes my day.
Yeah.
So if you were to go into a nursing home, which is actually, they need miracles, because this is I'm on a dialysis machine, and I've got congestive heart failure, and I'm going to die soon. I'm in pain. I need a miracle. Would your life be complete? Feel really like, I feel wonderful now, if I left that person just believing and hope of the miracle? Would that do it for you? No need to talk about Jesus, depression, anything else. You're good.
You know what's there? I have to say something, because I did help. I feel like that was a mission of mine that I didn't know, because we have a purpose, what we have to do in life, and we don't know it sometimes what the way is. But when I started my job, I met an older lady, and the first day I started, I talked to her about near-death stories, and when you die, what's happening, and she was totally a nun. Like, she believed in Jesus, she went to church and all that, but she said there's nothing when you die, and that's it. And
you didn't answer my question. You tangent into life after death.
You're talking about some other mode.
But that kind of was my purpose. I think he said,
leave out all your leave everything out and just work.
Just focus. And so what I'm hearing is, it's more on after. Is telling people about life after death more important than a miracle?
People. Or
that I have to find out, because I have never worked.
Oh, it's really easy. This is a great exercise if you haven't done it before. So you were actually pretty excited about the life after death thing. So imagine you could never speak about a miracle again, but you could always talk about life after death. How would that feel?
I think that if I work in a rest home, that would kind of be a nice way to help them.
No, you're not working in a restaurant. You're doing a podcast. If you want to.
Podcast? Yeah.
Well, I thought podcast was what you wanted to do.
Yeah, but I told her maybe she should try out rest home. At the nursing home or rest home, however you call it, and help elderly people. Maybe that is also her mission. And on the side, she can do the podcast.
You're mixing the work. You're mixing the work to get money with your purpose again. And in the beginning, you have to do your day job while you get your purpose to a monetization thing. Don't try to mix them together.
I think maybe you can have two purposes or not.
Sure. Yeah, this is true. Yeah.
I thought about, so my purpose is both. Like, I help people in two ways: the one who grieve and the one who are elderly, who who need help to go, let's say, to the eye doctor, which I did, or to go to the store, buy food, or just be there for them.
Back to the life after death. I'm sorry for interrupting this.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
You seem to be really passionate about the life after death thing, Katrin.
I felt really good about myself when I changed her mind about dying. Like, the lady she was working, but she was retired already. So
is that the most important thing to you?
No,
you need to.
It was actually, for me, it was just exciting and I think that was one of my purpose that I didn't know. But later down the road, I thought, like, maybe that was something I supposed to do, which I didn't know.
Which is what? What is
telling her that there's life after death, that there is life, because she's not a believer that there is life after she's dying. Yeah, I mean, she hasn't passed away yet, but when I'm talking to
So how does it feel if you're to change your miracle podcast to something related to there's life after death or believe in the miracle of life after death? Would that work for you?
Yeah, I could too, yeah. But I
Is
think
it that important to you is what I'm asking, is the life after death?
I think it is important that people know that there is a life after death, but I think it could be an issue for some people, like they could argue a lot over while doing a podcast with the person. I think many people have disbelief, disagreement, which the lady did. I disagree.
Always respect other people's beliefs.
I did too.
Yeah.
Did.
Because who knows what the truth is?
Yeah.
You know what your truth is, mine. You're not trying to make somebody believe. You're trying to share what you know and inspire them to be hopeful.
Exactly.
I think you're overestimating how many people would react negative to the message. I think you'd be surprised. Not too many people, unless you start. If you use Jesus, though, it is going to even if I believe in Jesus, possibly be a distraction because oh no, here comes the message. He's going to want to convert me. Ask me, have I been? I am a Catholic, by the way. Won't go there. I can tell you my whole story. But it's tangenting from the message, right? Life after death, which is more important.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a whole spectrum that
you have to find it.
I have to just find it. I mean, there's a lot of things that I
No,
think
it's real easy. What's in the heart?
And
what do you feel like? What do you feel like? Tell it.
Honestly, I feel good if, like, it sounds really silly, but even if, like, you talking to me, it makes me feel like I'm somebody. Like, I feel important, it's like I'm at work, nobody talks to me, I do my thing, I'm feeling depressed because there's nobody actually having a simple conversation. I mean, we say, hey, and what's up? And, that's pretty much it. But me as a person, to feel important is actually just to have a simple conversation makes my day sometimes.
Then I know what you need.
I feel if I
why don't you just make it the D&K Hello My Day podcast then? It'd be fine. It'd be great.
Okay. I mean, I feel like this is so important to people who have depression to feel there is somebody out there that they are feeling important, but it goes both ways. It's not only one way that you're talking or she's talking. It's just both talking to each other.
You could have a show where you just have people who are depressed on your show, and you'd have a notice, of course. We're not doctors. If you need medical help, call your doctor, call 911, blah, blah, blah. But hey, if you need someone to talk to, be a guest on our show.
Yeah.
It's not therapy. It's just want to say hello.
Yeah, right.
Podcasts don't have to be so mathematical and niched and everything else like people. I mean, that is niched. Well, everybody's depressed. Fact is. I think there's 2% of the population is not, and they can't understand the rest of the 98%. But you could do that if it's, and you can talk about miracles, and you can talk about Jesus. But if your whole thing is, I see people who are depressed, and I just wish they knew there's someone they could talk to, and
I'm not depressed,
but that would be something. I help myself and I help others because I know how it feels. Like if you are depressed, you probably have not many people to talk to other than the all same people, and maybe see my best friend died. And it's just like those things add up that makes you alone. That
if I may, one thing that's I think is critical, if you do that route or whatever route you go, I believe in always leaving people better than I found them. That's the whole point. And the solution. So I would think about it ahead of time to where if I'm having this person on my show and I'm going to talk to them, how's it going to end? Look, if it just ends like I'm still sad, thanks, it was nice talking to you. If you were to reach out to some guest and you knew a little bit about them, maybe even the tiniest thing, some message, which could be Jesus, which could be your miracle, actually. There's your tag. There's always, the miracles. Believe in miracles. You leave them hopeful. So actually that ties them together pretty well. Your depression, your miracles, your Jesus. You talk to people who are depressed, but there's the miracle and there's Jesus, then your channel, I think, will come together. I think you'll feel more fulfilled, like you found your, quote, purpose.
Yeah. Or she tries also out, besides, like she could do the two purposes. Go with me again, like I'm the leader. She goes next to me. We go in that nursing home. When you see those elderly people, they're like, hello.
But there's still only one purpose. It's just a different venue. It's a different venue, but it's not a podcast. It's the nursing home. It could be the coffee shop or the street corner.
But with those people, she could interact more. That's what she's
looking for. Well, you could have a seminar. You could have lots of different ways. But the thing you're doing, though, you're not washing pots and pans. You're trying to uplift, make a difference in someone's life. Your message is the same. And if it's believe in miracles, and then, by the way, I like, personally, I like to talk to Jesus, but, you might have your own thing. But whoever it is, believe in miracles, which we all need. And, be on my show, D&K show, and we'll talk about miracles or whatever, but it's the same message, the same whatever in your heart you're trying to express.
Yeah.
Just got to get clear on it.
Exactly. It's a good way to think about it, like what you just said, like focusing on just inviting people that have depression and, want to talk, but there's different people, some people they have depression, but really don't want to get out of their shelf, or they're just by themselves.
But it's just an example or
it's something.
It's a huge audience. It will come out of the woodwork. The reason people commit suicide is because they're afraid to talk about it.
Yeah, exactly.
And come to think of it, I don't even know a channel on. I mean, I haven't looked, but is there a channel on Spotify where if you put in the word depression, it's in the name of a show?
No.
You got to walk a fine line. You don't want to. If people need help, you need to send them to 988, the suicide hotline, and not your show. But it's a great niche to funnel people to. And then you have, again, so I'm a solution person, not just a talk about problems. Your solution is always the miracles. So you always come back to the miracle. If things start going down, you go, hey, let's take time out here. I'll tell you about this miracle story. Just right?
Yes, correct.
And then if you did that, if that's all you were doing all day long, how would that feel?
I think I would feel happy. I'm already feeling happy, just
thinking about
just you talking to me, even if we have limited time now, but it does help my soul in kind of way, just to feel somebody maybe really feels important, like you have interest in knowing, and you want to talk more and learn more about my things. That's already like
and a ton of monetization ideas come to mind. All the therapists, you could start locally, or it's international. So your monetization would come from ads from therapists who you really, 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 really believe in. Top-notch psychotherapist, the real deal, only the best. You would sell that's who you would do ad time for.
Yeah, I have to think about it. I mean, it's a thing.
This gets back to like we throw the baby out the bathwater. Like, I don't know, I'm going to make money. I need 1,000 YouTube subscribers. And what if YouTube stopped paying everybody tomorrow and your whole dream falls apart? That's not the dream. Dream is you're going to feel good if you're talking to someone depressed, and then your golden playbook is the Book of Miracles. Like, I'll flip to a page if I don't know what to say to my guest. Let's talk about this miracle. It tends to make them feel better.
Yeah, but thank you for taking the time and talking to us.
Yeah.
Real quick, Daniela, I still see a way for, if I was you, I imagine I'm you now. My sister's doing her Depression Miracle podcast. How do I fit in? Because you still have this talent for channeling people and your thing. You could still be your co-host still, probably.
Yeah.
Because you guys look good together. You could still plug your channeling thing and your own website and service on the side.
Yeah, you got the information about a website that I can make. I mean, I record.
Easiest website. It's band. It was created for musicians, for bands, to make an easy website. But it turns out I've tried Wix, everything you can imagine to make a website. WordPress, my God, just don't waste your time. Band, B-A-N-D, Zoogle.com. Zoogle, band Zoogle, like a zoo. I built my environmental testing business website on it, my mold testing, my music, my podcast show, all my businesses. It's really easy to learn.
Yeah.
And you can integrate it with PayPal.
That's good. Yeah.
So it's piece of pie.
That the payment is the harder part that
piece of pie. Stripe. Because it's made for musicians. They're trying to sell CDs, T-shirt, merchandise, et cetera, et cetera. It's built for that. Easy peasy.
Yeah, you are so educated also with writing a book.
That's amazing.
Written 12 books. Yeah.
Exactly. This is amazing. Very great. I mean, listeners would love to hear how to start doing that.
I think so.
It was nice talking to you both.
Yes, thank you so much.
And let me know if you need anything.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.